school, it's important to make sure you check what day it is before you go to school, so then you don't accidentally go on a day when there's like nobody at your school, or pay attention to when you have a vacation, or pay attention to when you have a 3-day weekend at school. I still cannot believe I did this to this day. Hi everybody, it's Mena. Welcome back to my channel, or if this is the very first video that you're seeing of me, then welcome to my channel. Please be sure to hit that subscribe button down below if you didn't already. I post Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and today in this video I have a burrito for a snack slash late lunch slash snack and story time. I'm eating a bean, rice, and cheese burrito. It's just leftover from last night that I didn't finish, and I'm eating it so I don't waste it. So anyway, today I have a story for you guys today, and this is going to be a retelling of the story about the time I went to school on a Saturday thinking it was a Friday. So this is a story about how I went to get ready for school. I didn't know it was Friday. I didn't know that, I forgot we had a 3-day weekend that weekend or something. And for some weird reason, and then also my clock was messed up telling me it was Friday. And I ended up going to school on a Saturday, mistaking it for Friday. So this is a retelling of a story I made a couple years ago, and I'm retelling this because I don't really like the quality. And if you want to see the original story, I'll link it in the description box down below if you didn't see. So this is a story just to teach you guys, always pay attention to what day it is before you go to school, because you don't want to end up going to school on a weekend unless you have Saturday detention. So it's always important to pay attention to what day it is before you go to school on a day where there's no one there. So I'm going to get started, and I hope you guys enjoy the video. My apologies, I accidentally took a bite while filming. Anyway, so this all started, one second. So this all started about 17 years ago. I don't remember how many years ago it was back when I told this story, but at this time it took about 17 years ago. I was a sophomore in high school. We had just finished a 3-day weekend of Veterans Day, and I wake up one morning and I noticed my clock on my digital clock had said Friday instead of Saturday. So I didn't have really I had a calendar that told me what day it was, but I was confused because my clock on the wall, my digital clock on the wall said Friday instead of Saturday. So, and I also was, I think, a little confused because we had a 3-day weekend that last weekend because it was Veterans Day weekend. It was in November. And so I was a sophomore in high school at the time. I forgot to mention that. And I go to get ready for school. I pack my lunch and I tell my mom I'm going to school. My mom, I think, was trying to tell me it was Saturday instead of Friday. And I think I ended up leaving before she told me while she was asleep when I had left. And so I go to school, I go to leave, I go to my friend's house, I knock on my friend's door, he doesn't answer. I already had my lunch packed and everything. And then I end up going to school, and then I sit at school for a while. I sit there for a couple of hours. I don't even know how long I sat there, but I'm sitting at school for a while, and I don't notice this, but I get phone calls on my phone from like my parents, because my mom started to get scared because she didn't know where I was, and she had called my dad over, and my roommate that lived with us at the time was scared because she didn't know where I was either. So I'm sitting at the bench, and then all of a sudden the school custodian comes up to me and asks,
"What are you doing here?"
I said, "Oh, I'm here for school." And then the custodian tells me,
"Today is Saturday. You're not supposed to be here unless you have a Saturday school."
So once I realize this, I rush home. I say thank you to the janitor, then I rush home. And then I get home, and when I get home, my mom is like crying and hugging me because she didn't know where I was. And then I noticed my dad is at the house, and my roommate's crying as well. Neither of them knew where I was. I start crying, and my mom was asking me where I was, and I told her I went to school. And she's like, "Why did you go to school? It's Saturday." And I said, "I don't know." No. And then all of a sudden, and she asked me, "How did you know it was Saturday. And I told her that the custodian told me, and she said, good thing he was a nice custodian. And the custodian was very nice. He was a very nice custodian. He made me leave to go back home to let me know it was Saturday. And so my parents were explaining to me not to go to school on Saturday. And then we also suddenly look at the digital clock that we had at the time. We had this digital clock that would tell us what time, date, and day it was. And we looked and noticed that the clock had said Friday instead of Saturday. So we go to fix, and my mom goes to fix the clock, and suddenly we realize that's also probably why I got confused, was the clock said Friday instead of Saturday. So she goes to fix the clock and puts it on the right day, so then I wasn't so confused, because I would use that clock to leave for school all the time. I don't even know what happened to that clock. I think it broke and we got rid of it. So luckily, I never made this mistake again, and I never went to school on a Saturday and stayed at school all day. So the moral of the story is that you should always pay close attention to what day it is. I know nowadays we have phones that tell us what date and time it is. So then you don't get confused. So it's always important to make sure you pay super close attention to what day it is. You can always look up online, or you could always look at your phone just to make sure you know exactly what day it is, so then you don't forget what day it is, so you don't accidentally go to school or work on the wrong day, unless you have to go to school or work on a certain day, unless you have like a weekend detention. So never go to school on Saturday. Always pay attention to what day it is before you go to school. And also pay attention to when you have a certain holiday, so that you don't go to school. So that was the retelling of the time I accidentally went to school on a Saturday. I hope you guys enjoyed the story. And if you want to see the original story, I'll link it in the description box down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. I post Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I'll see you in another video soon. Bye. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please make sure to give it a thumbs up as well as subscribe to my channel.